Where does money really come from? Every single hour, day and night, a highly secured government building in Washington, D.C. is at work, transforming blank paper into official currency. To keep up with demand, these machines never stop running, producing over $500 million for the U.S. economy every day. But this physical cash is only a small piece of the story. Today, most money doesn't exist as bills or coins at all. It exists digitally, and that digital total grows by more than $4 billion every single day. So where does all of this money actually come from? Before it ever appears in your bank account, it moves through countless hands, individuals, companies, and governments, often created with nothing more than numbers typed into a computer. To explain how this system truly works, how it powers the economy, pushes prices higher, and quietly pulls people into debt, we need to rewind to a time before money even existed. The beginning of money. Thousands of years ago, if a farmer needed a new tool, he would visit a local craftsman to get one. If the farmer couldn't pay right away, they made a simple agreement. The farmer would repay him later. Because trust existed between them, that promise alone had value. A few weeks later, the farmer returned with food from his land, and the deal was complete. As trade became more common, people wanted faster and easier ways to exchange value, so they began using items everyone needed: grain, livestock, and salt. These goods worked as money because they were useful and difficult to obtain. Now the farmer could pay immediately, using a specific amount of grain that both sides agreed was fair. Trades became quicker, and both people walked away with something valuable. But as trade expanded, using bulky goods became impractical. Eventually, societies adopted metal coins like gold and silver. They were compact, durable, and highly valuable, unlike food or animals that could spoil or die. Global trade exploded, with goods moving across continents from China to Europe. Still, carrying large amounts of gold was risky and dangerous, and that's when the idea of money began to evolve again. The creation of loans. In 17th century London, trusted goldsmiths offered to store people's gold for a small fee. In return, customers received paper receipts, documents promising they could reclaim their gold at any time. These papers had no real value on their own, yet they were trusted everywhere. Soon, people stopped exchanging gold entirely and began trading the paper instead. Then the goldsmiths noticed something important. Most people never came back to collect their gold, so they began issuing extra receipts and loaning them out with interest. That newly created money wasn't backed by additional gold. It was created out of thin air. If a customer borrowed the value of 100 gold coins, the goldsmith didn't lose any gold. They simply wrote a paper claiming 100 coins. When the borrower paid back 105 coins later, the goldsmith gained a profit. That borrowed money was then spent, making other people richer along the way. From one loan, the total amount of money in circulation increased, even though no new coins were created. More money existed on paper than in reality. As long as everyone didn't demand their gold at the same time, the system kept working. Replace goldsmiths with banks and paper receipts with digital balances, and you have today's monetary system. Why banks create money. Before lending existed, money could only move in a loop. It changed hands, but the total never increased. Eventually, wealth becomes uneven. Fewer people can participate, and economic activity slows down. Creating new money allows trade to continue, businesses to expand, and civilization to progress. That's why modern economies depend on a steady flow of new money. How banks create money today. Most people think banks simply store their money. That's not what actually happens. Your bank balance isn't cash sitting in a vault. It's a record showing the bank owes you money. A loan works the same way, but in reverse. When a bank lends money, it doesn't move existing funds, it creates brand new digital money. When the loan is repaid, that money disappears, and the bank keeps the interest. Debt, inflation, and the economy. That newly created money gets spent buying cars, paying workers, funding businesses. Those workers then spend it again, creating endless economic activity. But if money grows faster than real production, prices rise. That's inflation, more money competing for fewer goods. Because of this, banks must limit how much money they create. Central banks, bonds, and government debt. In the past, banks could only lend a portion of the cash they held. Today, they have far more freedom. If banks need more backup funds, they turn to the central bank. Governments create bonds, essentially borrowing money with interest. Banks, corporations, and foreign countries buy these bonds, and the money funds government spending. But governments often spend more than they earn. To cover the gap, they issue more bonds, increasing debt. This debt-based system powers most of the modern world. It isn't completely broken, but it's far from efficient. If more money flowed into education, infrastructure, and innovation, the long-term benefits could be enormous. That's how money really works. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next video.